Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool arcade game repair for you today. Look at the hole in the side of this game. We've been working on this Atari Key Games Sprint 2 machine for a couple videos now. This video we started filming before we fixed the steering wheels and everything. We got a bunch of noise in the background. You'll have to ignore that. But this particular game has a big hole in the side of it where some clown broke into it with a hammer or something to try to get to the money. So look at this. Horrible. So we've got to try to fix that or we're never going to be able to sell it and we just won't be happy. So let's see what we can do. We're going to start. I'm going to have Joe go ahead and start trying to use some filler on it and see what he can do to make it look better, and then we're going to try to paint over it. So let's do it. There's a piece of the cabinet. That's supposed to go on the cabinet, Joey.
That's extra.
What'd you do? You know what? There was a big hole in the side of the cabinet, and it's gone now. That's a pretty good first step. That was the hard part.
Yep. That's the hard part. You painting it all back in, that'd be easy.
We could just leave it like that, actually. I think we'd just leave it. What do you think?
That's smoke coming from the car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a big billow of smoke, so we'll just leave it like that. Everybody's cool with me just leaving it like that, right? I don't need to actually try to... What? I can hear screaming in the background, Joe. There's people screaming. So... it actually cleaned up pretty good. So we're not going to try to make it look brand new or anything, but it had a hole kicked in the side. We really need to do something about that. So that's pretty good, Joe. All right, so we need to paint over it. So I think the first thing I'll do is look up a picture of how it's supposed to look. Now we do have, it's on the other side as well. So I mean, we could always look at that, but it's the mirror of it. But if I've got like a little picture here I can look at, we can start kind of drawing it back in. It doesn't have, like the flames don't have black lines around them. Then it was all kind of silk screened on this art. You can see it kind of right here. There is like a paper on it. And so what Atari did was they would actually silk screen it on the actual particle board. Like they didn't have a sticker that they put on. The particle board had a sticker on it. And then they would silk screen it on the board after it was cut. It's crazy. If you peel this off on an Atari game, underneath the art, you'll see it on the plywood or the particle board where it was heated wherever the color goes. Really weird. But they didn't use black lines on everything. There are some, but they're just part of the art. Like the actual flames and stuff just run into each other. So it's really not that complex. You've got white, which this is primer. We might put a little darker white on the parts that show just to make it blend in a little better. But most of this will be covered up with color. So there's only white and black, yellow, orange, red. So it's 5 colors if you count the white. It would have only been 4 colors whenever they silk screened it. And yeah, so there's a little bit of yellow. Alright, so that's what we're starting with after Joey got it all fixed up. Looking cool. Alright, the other side has a crack in it, but there's not really a good way to... We could Bondo it and all of that and then repaint it all, but it's not significant enough that we're even really going to mess with it. I'll probably put a little paint over some of the color just while I'm doing this. I'll run around to the other side and put it on the crack just to hide it a little bit, but we're not going to go all the way with that. All right, so this is what we're starting with. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll get a picture of it, how it's supposed to look, and then we'll start kind of drawing in with a pencil some of the lines, and then we can just paint by numbers. What do you think? Okay, folks, I found a number 2 pencil. It's my first Ticonderoga. Big old thick pencil with an eraser. And then I took a picture of the other side of the game and then flipped it in my phone and discovered that the registration is slightly different on that side than this side. But folks, we're not painting a Picasso here. If it's a little bit off, it's a little bit off. It'll be all right. So like see right there where that little yellow part is, if you look on the actual game on this side, let's see here, yellow and red, see how there's a line between the yellow and the orange because the registration's a little different on this side than it is on the other side. All right. But it shows you pretty much what the original silkscreen was like. So I took the pencil and drew it back in. Kind of just rough ideas of where the swoops should go, and whenever we paint it, we'll kind of paint it kind of looping. Joe, maybe we just leave it like this. I mean, they can tell what's going on.
Looks good to me.
Little pencil sketch. What's the problem? I think we'll just leave it, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll put some yellow in. What do you think? Maybe we just add a little bit of the yellow. Or, you know what I'll do first? Maybe I'll put in the black, because we probably got some black paint open. You got some black paint open?
Always got black paint open.
All right, let's throw a little black paint on it first. All right, so we inked in a little bit of the black. We're using acrylic paints. We'll put a little clear or something over it after we're done. But if you use acrylic paints, basically they'll wipe right off with water, which is good whenever you're color matching. In case you screw up, you can fix it really easy. But it's bad if you just leave it like that, because any kind of cleaner on it will make all of the paint run off the side of the can. So we inked in some of the lines that actually are black, and we're going to fill in the rest of the black on that fender and then move along. Okay, so we got the black in. Now I think I'm going to mess with the yellow. So the way that we do color matching is similar to how we do it on the pinball playfields. Basically, we just have a whole bunch of acrylic paints and we kind of mix a color together, but we try to get one just right out of the bottle that's as close as possible. So let me grab all of the paints and we'll see if we've got any kind of yellow that's even close to that yellow. All right, so I have a whole box of paints. For those of you that watch our channel, you may notice I have more paint now. We've been buying more. Every once in a while, I'll order just a bit more. So, basically, I just go through and I peel out all of the different yellows that I have. Now, you can mix if you got something close. But you want it to be as close as possible, because whenever you mix them, it's a little harder to do and the stuff gets a little crazy. So what I do is I just take them and I hold them up to what I'm trying to do and see what we get. So in the bottle, they're usually a little bit lighter than they end up being once they dry. And you can kind of look through the bottom of the bottle. Now there's a label on the top usually too. This one's missing, but there's a label on the top usually too, but it doesn't always accurately reflect it. And then you have the label on the side as well. So I just try to compare it. So the one on the cabinet to me looks like it has more green in it. So you could probably make that one by putting some green in this one. That's my opinion. Okay, so that one's all right. We'll hold it to the side. Then this one, it's just so bright, and this one's kind of dull. So if I put that on there, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So this is yellow light. Not to be confused with the light yellow. The other one was golden yellow, the one that we thought had potential. Okay, so we'll keep it to the side. And then we've got lemon yellow. Way too bright, and it doesn't have much pigment in it. It almost looks white, you know. So you're never going to get like a kind of darker looking yellow out of that. What do you think, Joe?
Sounds right.
Joey says it sounds right. He's checking me. Okay, now we have bright yellow. Too bright though, but so on one like this, you kind of need to dirty it up a little bit. So if you took this one and added the color that's on the other side of the color wheel to it, so you got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, red. So red, orange, yellow. Yellow's down here. If you added a little purple to it, which is on the opposite side of the color wheel, it would just a teeny bit, little tiny bit, it would kind of muddy it up a little bit, and you might come out with something like that. Let's see what else we got. Marigold. It's getting better, I think. So that's similar, but not quite the right hue. But it's the right kind of intensity. You know, it's kind of muted looking. So we'll save that one to the side. Bright yellow. This is probably just a different bottle with the same thing that we was looking at on the other one. Primary yellow. As orange as it looks, it's not quite as orange as that. But it's got potential if we can't get it any closer. Cadmium yellow. And remember, it's a little brighter in the bottle than it is whenever it dries. That's decent. And then the saffron yellow. A little too orange, but not too bad. Okay, so I think I like this one. But here to my naked eye, it looks too orange to me. So we need to... Looks like it's going to be too dark and too orange. So your color wheel, you got red, orange, yellow. So if you're too orange, that means it's a little bit too much red in it. So to make it more yellow, you can go a little past yellow down to green. So if you put a little green in it, you kind of draw it towards yellow. I think I take a little bit of this and I mix a little bit of green in with it. So I'll find a green, something like this, like a kind of muted green, light avocado, and I'll mix just a little bit of this in with it and see if I can get it to go a little less orange. So that's what I'm gonna try. Okay, folks, we put the yellow in. It may actually be a little too green, but we'll keep our eye on it whenever we paint the other ones in and see if it needs any attention. You can always go back if you need to. That's kind of the bottom color, though, the way they've done it, so I kind of wanted to paint it first. Yellow is also really hard to get just right. So if we can get it at least presentable, we'll leave it like that. But it looks pretty good. Now, there was one part down there where part of the flame was still there. I went ahead and painted over it as well, just so that your eye wouldn't obviously notice the difference in color. You may not notice that that's one color and that's one color once everything's in. It may blend in. And also, if you're doing a repair, like you've got a circular repair, you don't want to stop the paint right at the edge. You want to go past it because you want to hide that perfect circle. Like if I just stopped the paint color at a perfect circle, you'd see the perfect circle. But if the orange bleeds into this a little bit and the red bleeds in here a little bit and the orange continues past, you don't notice that there's a perfect circle that's screwed up. Okay, so that's yellow. Let me see what we got in the way of orange. Jack-o'-lantern orange. It's been my experience that there's only a few colors of orange that your eye can kind of discern. So I've got like 4 oranges or something, and it's usually a pretty good match. I think it looks pretty good, Joe. What do you think?
Looks great.
Joey says it looks great, folks. And it makes the yellow look a little better, too, because it puts a color between the one yellow that's a little off and the regular yellow. I don't know, y'all. It's starting to come together. We could leave it like that, and people probably wouldn't even notice. It looks almost mint. It's very minty.
Those look pretty good.
But if we add the red in, it'll look even better. All right, so we're going to mess with the orange just a little bit more. You think it needs another coat, Joe? Might add a little more orange. And do like I was saying, like bleed it up into the other color a little bit to just kind of mix it. But it's looking pretty decent. Okay, so red is next. All right, Joe's painted the orange in. It's looking pretty good, Joe. It needs to dry a little bit, and we still have the colors, so of course we can go back and touch it up if we need to. But it's time for the red. I think the red's going to bring it all together, Joe. What do you think?
Definitely.
Joey says definitely. Definitively. Can you even tell? They probably can't even tell anymore.
I done forgot where we painted.
I think it's down in this corner here. I think. Maybe.
I thought it was over here.
Yeah, that's right. It was up there. That part. Boy, you did a great job. But we'll touch up this other place that someone else damaged. All right, so let's see. So for red, I have a whole bunch of reds. That might be it right there, Joe. Berry red. It's berry red, Joe. Mm-hmm. That might be it.
No, it dries darker.
It does dry darker. Okay, this is tomato red. Tomato red's not usually the right hue. True red. Yeah, a little too light, I think. Oh, I didn't mention. If you're going to get it wrong, like if you can't get it perfect, try to make it a little bit darker than it's supposed to be if you can get it that way, because your eye doesn't discern it as much. You just see it as, oh, that area is subconsciously. Your eye says, oh, that area is slightly darker because it's worn or there's a shadow on it or something. There's no excuse for why it would be lighter. So if it's lighter, it just stands out and you go, what in the world? That's what I do, at least. Well, that's not bad. That's cherry red. Not bad. So we're just whittling them down until we pick one. Tuscan red. I'm about out of that though, but it don't look too far off. But I think I'm about out of it. Cherry red again. Some I have doubles, Tomato red again. Santa red. Boy, we all like that, don't we? I don't know if I got enough light in here to tell. I think that's a little too light, though. We'll keep it all to the side, though, just in case. True red again. Alizarin crimson. Boy, they had to get creative with that one. Yeah, that's too purple. Primary red. Too bright. Primary red. Red alert. That's almost way too orange, really. Okay. Country red. Primary red again. And everybody's favorite, razzleberry. Razzleberry, too purplish. Okay, so I like these three. So we have cherry red, berry red, and Santa red. They're all very similar, but I gotta say, cherry red is the darkest. So I think we'll try a little bit of cherry red and just see how close it is, and we'll go from there. All right, folks. I think this is where we're going to have to leave it. Now, it's a 5-footer. There's nothing wrong with being a 5-footer, people. Don't get mad. You can kind of tell. But if you didn't know, you know. What do you think, Joe?
I think it looks great.
Joey says he thinks it looks great.
Turned out better than I thought it would.
We're using such a small brush, you can see some of the brush strokes in the red. And The white is just a little bit off. The yellow is a little bit off. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good,
That's
Joe.
an old machine.
It's an old machine, folks. It's from the 70s, 1976. So I think we're going to call that done. I think that saved it. What do you think, Joe?
It's great.
All right, so we'll show you what it looks like all cleaned up and with the T-molding on it and everything. And we'll have to be happy with that. Oh, we need to put clear on it. We're going to put some clear on it. All right, folks, so that's how it turned out. What do you think? From a distance, it looks pretty good. You know, from a distance, the earth is blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains are white. Did you know that? From a distance, the ocean, the river moves to the sea, and the eagle takes to flight. So I think it came out pretty good. The T-molding really kind of brought it together. The monitor we have out of it because we're recapping it. And we're going to get this sucker looking nice. But I think we really kind of saved the hole. Most people wouldn't even know. You want to see the other side? Do you want to see the other side? Let's go look at the other side. Wait, you're just trying to get me to do this so you can see the other stuff we have in our in our store here. Come on, people. I'm not gonna fall for that. Come on now. What a beautiful game, man! I love these. The '70s stuff is some of my favorite. So there you go. We don't have the monitor in it right now, but we played it a little bit on the first video. So if you didn't see that, go back and check it out. But yeah, I think that kind of saved it, right? We did the best we could. We still have this area here. You could take that out, Bondo it all up, sand it all down, and then paint it back if you wanted. But I don't know. It's almost like it's deceptive. We don't want to make it look too good because then everybody will know, you know, that we want them to see that, and then they'll go, oh, it's not in perfect shape. If I'm looking for a mint one, this isn't the one. You have to manage expectations, folks. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video series we did on this one, Sprint 2. Very fun game. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it all for you. We've got some other stuff here in the shop that we need to work on. Yeah, you're seeing all kinds of stuff in the background. This is just one of our rooms of goodies. But yeah, cool old Atari key games. We've got a Ladybug we'll bring in soon and start working on too. Same thing. Vintage 70s greatness. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think of the machine. Do you remember playing it? Do you think that our whole patch is passable? You can tell us the better way to do it. Look, we got this too. Just can't get it quite perfect, you know. If you're going to be painting, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but if you're going to be painting something with the acrylic paints and stuff, if you want a little starter set of acrylic paints, you can get those at Michael's. You can get them at any kind of hobby supply place. You want acrylic paint just so you can clear coat over it, like we did on this one. We just use spray paint, clear coat. But if you want, you can check out our website too. Go to lionsarcade.com. We have prices, pictures, and descriptions of all of our games. And then we also have a parts page on there that's got a bunch of links to stuff on Amazon that we use in our videos, including some of this paint and stuff. And if you click any of those links and go to Amazon, it gives us a little tip for sending you there. So we appreciate everybody that's been supporting us doing that. We had somebody the other day, I mentioned it in another video, they bought a sump pump that was real expensive. You don't have to buy anything expensive, but I couldn't even tell what it was for. And so in one of the videos I mentioned, oh, somebody bought a sump pump. I had one of those in our basement when I was a kid. But then I went and looked, and it had something to do with a computer. It had nothing to do with an actual flooded basement. So I apologize, whoever it was that I was insulting your computer by calling it a muddy hole in your basement. I didn't know what I was talking about. You'll have to excuse me for being ignorant on what a sump pump is. These days. I thought literally you needed it to get water out of your basement like back in the day. So, but apparently everybody, I was wondering why it was so expensive too, because I think the one we bought was like $80, but yeah, it was a while back. So anyway, so we appreciate everybody that's been doing that to support the channel, even the guy that bought the sump pump. You rock. And last but not least, don't forget to check out my brother Donnie. So my brother Donnie has his own channel here on YouTube, and he has we work on arcade games, jukeboxes, and pinball machines, vintage games like this. You can see the room's full of them. But my brother Donnie works on old vehicles. He works on old buildings. We've got a couple buildings that we're working on. I'm over there with him on the channel a lot of times. And so go check that out. A fun time is had by all. He's even crazier than I am. So hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you on the next one. Oh, let me show you the other side just one more time. Yeah, that's right. We did that.